faculty, staff, clients, friends joining us for Thursday. We're pretty much through the week. Happy Thursday. Let's say happy Thursday. I'll give you a happy. Yesterday we looked at Fats Waller, the great stride pianist. All those, just amazing talent. Then we looked at Janacek, the Czech composer. Then tomorrow we're going to see your film scoring results for Superman, which is, I can't wait to show you. Great job. You guys already know that. Today I'm homesick, so we're going to look at another hotel. Not as swanky, but very, very cool and very old. So let's go back to the town you love, I love, Lloyd loves, John loves, Megan loves, because I'm getting homesick. We're getting homesick. So today we're going to be looking at the Culver Hotel.
California, here I come, right back where I started from, where bowers of flowers bloom in the spring. Each morning, at dawning, birdies sing and everything.
The Culver Hotel is located in Culver City, built by Harry Culver. So whenever you go to Culver City, know that this is Harry Culver's town. So this is how we get our names. Just like Wilshire Boulevard is Gaylord Wilshire. That was the guy that used his name for the street that is clogged up with traffic all the time. So, National Historic Landmark in downtown Culver City. Beautiful building. Hailed as the first skyscraper on the west side. In a league of its own. On the west side, so the first skyscraper. So if we think of buildings, and this was in 1924, okay? So, where's my timeline? There's my timeline. 1924, so we have buildings going on in downtown, not big ones because we don't get City Hall until 1928. So, not that this was a big building, but this was pretty big for being on the west side. So we talked about downtown, the center of commerce of everything and everything. Hollywood's starting to do movies in the early 20th century. Remember, the Beverly Hills Hotel is 1912, and that's like in the middle of nowhere with farms and goats and all those other things. So Culver City's south. Now, it's not that far, as you know, from school, from Inglewood. So over there, nothing's happening. But Harry Culver says he comes to Culver City. It wasn't like that before. In 1915. And actually, he says, I'll provide free land to any movie studio that wants to build out here. Now that's a pretty good deal. Even I can afford that deal. So free land, and of course we know that MGM is there. So, it's literally down the street from the Culver Hotel. Okay, so that's why hailed as the first skyscraper on the west side, because Culver City is the west side. Okay, so what are we looking at here? It's a very nice building. It's not Art Deco, at least not in my mind. People call it Renaissance Revival style. Now, Renaissance going back to the Renaissance. We did a whole class on Monteverdi and the Renaissance. Now, it wasn't built 600 years ago. We know that. It was built in 1924 because I just said it. But the revival is based on the architecture of the 16th century Renaissance of Italy and France, with elements borrowed from like ancient Greece and Roman. So it's different. It looks way different than something as... It looks modern, but it looks less modern than a building like City Hall, which is Art Deco. But it still looks pretty cool, I think. So Culver wanted a city between, and this was the same with Beverly Hills. The Beverly Hills Hotel. They wanted a midpoint between, because you have downtown and then you have the ocean, in the early 20th century. And then what's here? It's fields, it's lambs, it's goats, it's dinosaurs probably. Well, it was dinosaurs at one point. So the Beverly Hills Hotel is in the middle, right? But that's north. Culver City's south. And Harry was just like, let's get in between the sea, only on the south over here. So you guys see the landscape. So his was kind of in between downtown LA and Venice, where the Venice canals are. Good idea. Let's do the Venice canals at some point. And then, Thomas Ince was the one that first came to build a studio there. But okay, so we have MGM right there. Sony is there. Their reputation was the heart of Screenland. That's what it was called. Also, if you think about it, early movie studios were in, we looked at the first one, Sunset and Gower, then Charlie Chaplin, 1919, La Brea and Sunset. And people that start working at MGM, they're going, or, Hollywood's not that close to Culver City at all. So how do you get people to go out there? I mean, you offer them a free land for a studio, but you also need a road. You also need housing over there. So with this hotel, it provided, a lot of stars lived there, and it provided some housing. 1924, what's going on? We go back to 1924 because Rhapsody in Blue, perhaps one of the biggest musical pieces that combined classical and jazz elements by George Gershwin, premieres. But that's in New York. What else in 1924? New York City has the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, held on November 27th. That's still going on. J. Edgar Hoover becomes the head of the FBI. That's going to change a lot of history coming up, as we know. And he held that post until he died in the early 70s. And after that, they were like, no no FBI director can ever be that long. I think it's like a 10-year thing or something like that. But he was, there was corruption and all that stuff with the Kennedys. But, that's not this class. So it's kind of on Main Street, right? It's on Main Street. So supposedly it's the shortest Main Street in the United States. It really is a very short Main Street. It was originally called Hotel Hunt, and then later known as Culver City Hotel. So 6 stories. So it's big, but it's not huge. Designed by Curlett and Beelman. Architecture, they were known for Art Deco throughout Los Angeles. And William and Alexander Curlett were father and son. Just, we've looked at other teams, architects. They did the wholesale jewelry mart downtown. They also did the Talmadge, which is in Koreatown, which if you look at it, it looks very much like the Culver Hotel. This it's elegant brick building named after the silent movie actress Norma Talmadge, or Talmadge. She and her husband, Hollywood producer Joseph Schenck, owned the building when it opened in 1924. Now, I believe Bonnie did live at the Talmadge at one point, but this isn't a class about Bonnie either, and she would not want that. But she did live there for a little bit, and she said it was very cool. Okay, so Harry builds it, his original office and vault on the 2nd floor. You can, this is still open today. There's jazz on once a week there. It's a beautiful bar. It's still maintained. Really, it went through, I feel like the 80s and 90s, things really started dropping. Like we looked at MacArthur Park, a lot of drugs, a lot of things that happened to the city. And then I believe maybe in the 2000s, people started taking these, architectural things, these landmarks, these things seriously, and made them landmarks, rather, I should say. So we know that MGM was right there. Hundreds of films and TVs have been filmed right around the corner of the Culver Hotel, from Laurel and Hardy movies, Cecil B. DeMille's studios, movies, David O. Selznick studios. I mean, that's where he did his stuff. And then, of course, we know that Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz are MGM films. So where do you think they stayed? The cast and crew, a lot of them stayed at the Culver Hotel while they were filming those, including the famous Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz. Little people, but they were called that, and so I've read so many different stories, but supposedly all 124 actors portrayed as the Munchkins stayed there during the filming, and it goes back and forth between they had huge wild debauchery parties, or no, they were too busy and too poor and they didn't have parties. Regardless, it seems like it's a better story to say that they partied the hell out of that hotel, the little people. To get all of those at that time in the world all together was probably pretty wild. So they would sleep three to four to a bed there. So that's kind of cool. But guests would include Joan Crawford, Douglas Fairbanks would be there, Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, Judy Garland, Buster Keaton, Ronald Reagan, Mickey Rooney, Frank Sinatra, Lana Turner, and Charlie Chaplin owned it for a little bit. I mean, legend has it that he sold the deed to John Wayne in a poker game. There's rumor that the Culver Hotel was a trystian place where people would have affairs. Supposedly, up until the late 1950s, supposedly a 6-foot-high secret tunnel ran under Main Street from the old RKO studio lot directly to the hotel for the use of prostitutes and their partners. So I don't know if that's still there or not, but a tunnel going from the hotel to the studios is very scandalous and not appropriate for the kids. But gamblers, prostitutes, and other illegal activities did happen at the hotel, just like it happens all the time. So when they were doing renovation, they noticed the measurements. These guys noticed the measurements. One suite did not coincide with the specifications in the original hotel plans. So they're like, "Whoa, stop the clock! What's going on?" So they knocked down a wall and found a room 5 feet wide by 40 feet long, with 40 to 50 telephone lines and benches. So what do you think's going on? Bookmaking, illegal gambling. So kind of cool that all this stuff was kind of these secret little things were happening in the hotel, because it's not huge, Today it's a 46-room, 4-star hotel known as the Jewel of downtown Culver City, and it's privately owned by the Malik family. So just a little Hollywood gossip, a little Hollywood trivia, but an important, very cool hotel. I've never stayed there, but I've gone many times to visit the lobby, and it's beautiful, gorgeous, and very close to our school. Okay, I've said way too much. Love you, miss you, can't wait to show you Superman tomorrow. Okay, have a great rest of the day, and make it a great day. Not just have it, make it. We got to make happiness sometimes, right? Okay, bye.